everyone, it's Elise and you are watching the Ready to Stare channel where I bring you plus size fashion, travel, and lifestyle content both on here and on my blog, readytostare.com. I have teamed up with FreeStyle Libre to share some of my experiences, thoughts, and opinions all about what it's like to live with type 2 diabetes and to wear the FreeStyle Libre 2. So to this day, one of my most popular and most read blog posts is about how I am a person living and thriving with diabetes. I made the choice to talk about this diagnosis because I felt like other people could benefit from hearing how I dealt with it and what I learned in the process. I am one of those people who I don't typically write or share something about my personal life until I feel like I can answer questions about it or handle troll comments. And so I waited a full year after my diagnosis. I was diagnosed on March 19th, 2016. I first published that blog post on March 19th, 2017, all about my diagnosis. Both that blog post and my diagnosis, of course, changed my life. And it changed my life in a way that people probably wouldn't expect a diabetes diagnosis to change your life. It gave me the unique opportunity to let other people know that type 2 diabetes is not a death sentence. I remember when I was first diagnosed, I told my then boyfriend, and he said, "I'm sure you feel like this is a death sentence." And honestly, I was 28 years old. I didn't want to think about the fact that I had just received this news and that it was a death sentence. I was so young. So I decided in that moment not to look at it as a death sentence, but to look at diabetes as something that I could learn to live with. And over the years, that's exactly what I've done. While I've had diabetes, I've walked the runways of New York Fashion Week. I was on a pride float in World Pride. I was in a national ad campaign shot by the famous David LaChapelle. I have done so many amazing things, all with diabetes. Diabetes isn't a death sentence. Yes, it changes your life, but that's why it's so important to have tools that make it easier to manage. So one of my absolutely favorite tools that I just started during quarantine back in March is the FreeStyle Libre. It is a continuous glucose monitor and it goes right on your arm, on the back of your arm. You put it on the back of your arm because that's where the readings are most effective. So I've had mine since March and I just basically switch on and off the back of the arm, but I always wear it there because I want my readings to be effective. So I started out with the original FreeStyle Libre and now I'm wearing the new FreeStyle Libre 2. This one has even more accurate readings and it has a new reader that looks like this. And the thing that I really like about the FreeStyle Libre 2, I love my original FreeStyle Libre, but the thing I like about the FreeStyle Libre 2 is that this gives you warnings when you go high. So you turn it on, scan it, and right now my blood sugar is 194. So I just ate breakfast, that makes total sense. And so you scan it, and if I hit a certain high number, it will beep and tell me to check it because my blood sugar is high. So what I like about this is that when I was first diagnosed with diabetes, I was very diligent about taking my blood sugar, pricking my finger, doing it 3 times a day, writing it down on a paper log. I literally had to pull out a piece of paper and write down all my numbers. This is what my doctor gave me. And I was so dependent on these logs that when I would run out of them, I would stop taking my blood sugar, which makes absolutely no sense. But that's just the process that I knew. But, you know, obviously it's not the most convenient thing to sit at a table, prick your finger with a needle, try to have to dispose of that needle in a safe way in the moment at a dinner table, and then pull out a paper log and write down the number. It began to get a bit cumbersome, and it wasn't that I was embarrassed or ashamed of it, but it was an extra step in the process that required me to sort of have an explanation with people. I remember on my first day starting a new job, having to pull out that log, and it was just like, maybe I didn't want to tell those people right then that I had diabetes, but having to do that process, I had no choice. So what I like about the FreeStyle Libre is that it really just works with your life. This is the best tool that I have found for diabetes management because I don't have to pull out any paper. It doesn't disrupt my life. I literally just take this, scan this, and people don't even really know what's going on. The FreeStyle Libre 1 that I had, the original, that one you use your phone, and there's an app on your phone. So that one is, because you're using your phone, it's even more discreet. But this one, I like the accuracy of the monitors and the fact that it gives you the notifications. As part of my diabetes management process, I have always made appointments with my doctor every 3 months to check my A1C. I had an appointment in February pre-quarantine, and then I had another appointment 3 months later, but obviously the doctors weren't taking any non-essential appointments at that point. So how my doctor and I had an appointment was we did a virtual appointment and we reviewed my FreeStyle Libre readings. This way, I was able to essentially know what my A1C was because I had all of these daily graphs. She was pretty much able to calculate what it was without having to do that test. Obviously, getting an A1C test is important and it's necessary, and I wouldn't substitute just using your readings, but in that moment, in a pinch, I wasn't physically able to go into the doctor because of quarantine, and we used my readings and we were able to kind of see what my daily trends were, what my average readings were. So that was like a very helpful tool, and it's something my paper logs could never tell me trends. They certainly never sent me alarm notices when my blood sugar was high or low. Being able to, I would say I got in a bad habit of not checking my blood sugar as regularly as I was. The first year of my diagnosis, I was extremely diligent, and then over the years, of course, I got a little comfortable and I just didn't take it as often. And a big part of that was that it's not that I hated pricking my finger, but I hated the process, the cleaning of the area, pricking the finger, and then sometimes your finger bleeds for too long, and then trying to figure out, I used to carry around like empty pill cases and put the needles in there. My husband has a sharps container. He also uses needles, so we had one at our house, but if I was out, it just became so cumbersome to try to take my blood sugar, and especially when traveling. So what I love about the FreeStyle Libre is that it's perfect for traveling. I have gone on not as many trips as I usually would have, but in 2020 I've gone on 2 road trips, all with my FreeStyle Libre, and it was so easy. It goes right on your arm, and then all you need is your reader and your charger. These are 2 easy tools to just keep with you. So much easier than having to worry, do I have enough needles? Do I have enough alcohol swabs? Do I have enough of all of these things? And then how am I going to keep track of my levels while I'm traveling? This is so easy because it tracks for 90 days. It tracks your readings. You can go in here and you can see your review history, which will tell you your logbook, your daily graph, and your average glucose. And so the application of the FreeStyle Libre 2 is so easy. All you have to do is clean the area, and then it comes in 2 parts. You take the one top off of the other one, you take the other top off, then you put the one top on the other one, you push it down, then the needle, you can see that the needle is then activated, and then you just go like this and you punch it in. It does not hurt. I've had multiple people put it on for me. I'm now able to put it on myself, which is great. But I've had friends, family, acquaintances even have to put it on for me, and they're so worried about it hurting. And it honestly, you put this on every 14 days. The one time you put it on doesn't hurt nearly as much as an individual finger stick that I was doing 3 times a day. So it's pretty painless, and then when you actually take your readings, you don't feel it. It's not like you feel the needle in your arm like pulling the blood. You don't feel anything like that. So it's really a painless process. It's so much easier and convenient, and I just absolutely love it. Another thing that I love about the FreeStyle Libre 2 is that it works in water. So it can go up to 3 feet of water for up to 30 minutes. And that means that I have worn it splashing around in the ocean and in hot tubs, and it makes it a lot easier than oh gosh, having to worry about, you know, if it wasn't waterproof. I can imagine being like, okay, here, like if it's like if you have a fresh tattoo and you can't get it in the water, it can be, again, kind of cumbersome. But what is nice about the FreeStyle Libre 2 is that for the most part, I'm not spending over 30 minutes in a hot tub anyway. I would be a shriveled prune. So it's just the right amount of time that you can be in a hot tub and get a little relaxing on without worrying about what's gonna happen to your FreeStyle Libre. It's going to be absolutely fine. So it's accurate, it's convenient, and honestly, most of the time, I forget it's there. I remember the first time I wore my FreeStyle Libre out in public was during quarantine. I was waiting in line to go into like Lowe's to get some flowers or something, one of the many quarantine art projects that I did, and a man through his mask asked me, what is that? Is that one of those diabetes monitors? And that was the first time anyone even noticed it. And we had a conversation about it, me and this stranger, and I was like, yeah, it's a continuous glucose monitor. I really love it. It's the FreeStyle Libre. And we talked about it, and he said, you know, I'm gonna ask my doctor about it. And so I like that it's a conversation starter. Without my FreeStyle Libre, you don't necessarily know that I have diabetes, but it's not something that I'm ashamed of. It's something that I want people to see my FreeStyle Libre and know that I am a person living and thriving with diabetes, and this is a tool that I use to help manage it. So it's actually a good conversation starter with strangers, with folks who follow me on the internet, all over. It's become a good conversation starter to kind of bring type 2 diabetes management into the conversation, remove that stigma, and help us all manage and live and thrive better. So this is just an amazing tool that puts diabetes management into my consciousness, but it doesn't make it so it rules or changes my life in any way. It enhances how I'm able to manage, but it doesn't dictate how I do things. So the FreeStyle Libre 2 really makes me feel free to do all of the amazing things that I love to do. I can travel with my FreeStyle Libre 2. I can shoot photos all day. I can do art projects. I can hike. I can do all the things I love with my FreeStyle Libre 2. And that's what I want all of you to know for this National Diabetes Awareness Month, is that diabetes, yes, diagnosis can change your life, but it's not a death sentence. It is just the beginning of a new chapter.